If anyone were to say to you, could you summarize the Bible for me in one sentence? You might look at them like, are you crazy? How on earth are you going to do that? Well, maybe I'm a little wacky, but I'm going to try. The Bible is the story of God working to bring back His people to Himself. That's the Bible. The story of God working and working to bring back the people who are His people to Himself. It's a story of, first of all, creation. And it's a story of betrayal. People turned away from God simply because they were interested in self more than God. God picked a special people out, made them His people, and they were to be the light of His to the rest of the world. He freed them from slavery in Egypt, gave them a promised land, gave them Moses and the commandments. Didn't work out too well. They wanted kings. He gave them kings. Didn't work out too well. He sent prophets, and the prophets didn't work out either. People kept revolting and turning away from God. They did not come back to God. They did not act like they belonged to God. So finally, God sent His only begotten Son. And now there is unity between God and His people. His people have come back to Him. You and I were born. We were created by God. You and I passed through the waters of baptism, and we have been recreated. We have been born anew. We live and breathe the life of God. We live and breathe the life of God. We are at one with God. We have returned to God. So God now has succeeded. Not complete. It's a work in progress. We sometimes fail, we stumble. It's not a perfect union, but we are together with God. He shares His life with us. And so we can say that this story, the story of the Bible, is a story of love. And what's more important, we can say it's our story. It's my story. It's your story. God has brought you back to Himself. But the story isn't over, is it? Millions and billions of people who don't know God, who don't care about God, who aren't interested in God. So the story continues. God still is working to bring people back to Him. And how is He going to do that? Well, we have today's gospel that tells us. Christ sent out 70 to prepare for His visit to certain towns. They were to go out and prepare the way. And that's exactly what we are to do. We are to share our story with others so that they too might receive Christ into their lives. That they too might be one with God. We have to dig, plant, cultivate, weed, but then Christ gives the growth. Not us. That's not our job. Not us. But we share our story to prepare for Him to enter into their lives and unite them to Himself and God. That's our mission. And to be all honest with you, I have to say that we, as Episcopalians, are total failures. We're a disaster when it comes to preparing the way for Christ. Remember the 90s? We had the decade of evangelism. Probably don't remember because it was such a disaster and a flop. But by 1995, nobody was talking about evangelism. Ooh, no, because it had failed. We don't get it. We seem to be unable to do it. So why is that? Why am I being so critical? Don't mean to offend you, but don't. Listen, pay attention, hold on. We are failures, I think, because the whole thing's not on our radar. It's not a priority for us. We don't even think about it. What we think about is our relationship with Christ and how we love Christ and Christ loves us and how this is great for us. But we don't think about going out and preparing the way for Christ to go to others. It's just not there. Most of us think, oh, that's the job of the clergy. Or, well, there must be some committee in the church that takes care of those things. Not me, though, not I. I have nothing to do with that. But we do. And so I think the first problem is our lack of recognition of what we can and should be doing. So make a little note to yourself, will you? Either just intellectually or maybe write it out. Share my story. That's what we're supposed to do. Second problem is, I think we believe that we're going to bring people to Christ by educating them. That's right. We'll give them a pamphlet that explains about our church or our faith. Or we'll grab them, or we'll talk to them, we'll explain about God and all this good stuff about God and maybe about the Trinity and blah, blah, blah. And finally, they will become believers because we have educated them. We have gotten to them through their mind, and we have made them want to know Christ. No, I don't think so. The faith is not taught. The faith is caught. C-A-U-G-H-T. You see, you're infected with the love of God, and you're supposed to spread that. Yeah. It's supposed to rub off from you. You're contagious, I hope. You're contagious with the love of God. And that love spreads from you to them. So it's not a question of instructing people. It's a question of sharing the story of your life, the story of love. What God loves means to you. You don't lecture people. You don't argue with people. You don't fight with people. You just share your love and hopefully bring them to share in a larger community of Christians, and they will catch the faith. Third reason I think we have so much difficulty is we live in very difficult times. Used to say that our society was Judeo-Christian. We had a Judeo-Christian value system. No, not anymore. We are a secular society. We are a-religious. God has been expelled from the public sector. God has been expelled from schools. God has been expelled from Christmas. God has been expelled from public life, the marketplace. God has been expelled from the workplace. You can't talk about God. It's not politically correct. Someone might be offended, someone who doesn't believe, or someone who has a different idea of God than you, so you cannot talk about it. That's politically correctness. And you know what political correctness is? It's control. It's control of the way you think. It's control of the way you speak, you talk. We shouldn't be so blasé about giving up our religious freedom. Tomorrow we celebrate Independence Day, as Father Dave mentioned, and we were given the freedom of religion by our forefathers. Don't let anyone take the freedom away. It's hard to face that kind of situation, but that's the situation we're in. People have died to preserve our freedom. They've given their arms, their legs, their eyesight, so that we might be free. Don't casually give it up. We need to be aware, to focus, that we are to share our story. We share it not by teaching, but by sharing it. And keep free to do that. And you might say, well, how can I share my story? I'd say to you, you're smart. You know dodo. You got a good mind, a good imagination. Think. How can you share your story? I'll say this. It's a good time to share it when people are receptive, such as maybe when they're going to get married, or they're going to have a baby, or when someone is sick, or when they're having trouble with children, or any kind of catastrophe in their life. That's a good